Alright everybody, we've got something a little bit new on the channel today. We're joined today by Nathan, and Nathan is going to go over the top 5 favorite things in his game collection, in his game room, and he's going to kind of just show us those top 5 things in his game room, talk about them a little bit and explain why they're his favorite, and it'll be a lot of fun. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I guess the first item I want to talk about as far as things that my favorite 5 things in my collection is my Super Nintendo. It's not the one that I had as a child or anything, but it was the one that, or it's the game system that my family probably played the most together. Back when I was younger, things were a lot different. We actually had the opportunity to all play the game system together. So that's definitely one of the favorite things that I have in my collection just because of the memories that I had with it. The second favorite thing that I had in my collection, and they're not in order of which I like the most, is Super Black Bass for the Super Nintendo. Me and my mom played this game a lot. We would go to the game store and rent it. We didn't ever own it back then, I don't know why, but we'd rent the game and play the whole game through and then take it back. So whenever we wanted to play it, we could just go pick it up, play it, take it back. But we played that game together a lot. So it's another thing that was more memory for me, which I guess all my favorite things are because of memories, most likely. Another one of my favorite things in my collection is the Hori slime controller for the PlayStation 2. It is incredibly awkward. Your hands will cramp. But I had never seen them produce anything like that when it came out. And I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan. They ran an ad in one of the Game Informer magazines. I told my wife about it. I was like, man, I'd love to have that when the game came out. And then I could just play Dragon Quest with the controller. Sure enough, she went to the game store at GameStop, and they had one controller. I think it was in the entire area. So she went ahead and bought it for me. And it may have been like a Father's Day present, I think. But it was really cool, and I was really happy to get it. I've kept it all these years. The only game that I ever played on it was Dragon Quest 8, then I retired it.
Did you play the entire game on it?
Yes.
Wow, that's dedication.
I played the entire game using the Hori slime controller.
And that's a long game too, right?
It's a long game. It's a fun game, real good. His name is Kippy.
Kippy.
Yeah, we named him Kippy. So he's always been sitting in the house watching us while we do nasty things.
That's definitely a collector's item for sure, because I've never, outside of the one you have, I've never seen one of those before.
I've never seen anyone have one, but I know that the Nintendo Switch has one.
Right, a newer one, yeah.
And it's hard for me not to buy that.
Yeah.
Because I had the Dragon Quest 11 on the Switch, played through it,
had
a lot of fun. But I wasn't going to play it with one of those controllers again.
Nope.
I've had my fun in that stance.
Could you see yourself playing a super fast-paced action game that requires switch reflexes with a controller like that?
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty awkward.
Yeah, it looks awkward.
This game is, or this controller would be best for nice, slow games.
Seems like it's more of kind of a novelty collector's item.
It definitely is. But it had to at least be used once.
Yeah.
So I wanted to play through the game with it, and I did.
Very nice. It looks good too.
It's in pretty good shape. I had it put up and stored away for a little while, and when I put the game room up, I brought it back out.
Like the stand that it's on. Now, just out of curiosity, the box. Now, obviously, the controller is not going to fit in that box. So, what was in the box? The stand and the game?
No, the controller. Yeah, the game wasn't in it. It was the stand and the cord. It's not a wireless controller.
I see.
So it does have a cord. The original box that it came in, I think it was water damaged, so I got rid of it. But that little box inside of it stayed okay. And I thought it looked good sitting on it, so I kept it.
Very cool.
And then we have the Power Glove. It's not one of my favorite things because it's really cool, and when you use it, you're blown away by the experience. More or less, it's one of the things that I think is really cool because I always wanted it when I was a kid. And when the Nintendo came out, I was still pretty young, and I always wanted one. Couldn't never get it because it was really expensive at the time. At one point, my grandfather had the glove, and I thought it was broken. I couldn't get it to do anything. And it wasn't until not long ago I found out the glove has to have a sensor bar that sits on the edge of your TV, which makes perfect sense that a motion control would need something to pick up the motion. So I don't know why I thought it didn't need that. But once you have the sensor bar and you put the codes in for every individual game, it's pretty good. And it was all over the TV, commercials, movies. They played it up real big. Even if it didn't commercially do that well, I think it's still something that is iconic in the video game industry, even if it is iconic because it's not real good.
Why do you think it flopped?
There wasn't a lot of games specifically made for the Power Glove at the time. So any game that required any extra control, you had to hold it like this, which at the time looked futuristic and cool, but wasn't real practical. I don't think a lot of people were willing to pay that much money for a glove that only played well on a few games.
That makes sense because you've got to have software to drive hardware sales.
So I think that was probably one of the big issues. And I don't remember seeing them in a lot of retail stores when I was young either.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing the games and the systems and the controllers, but a lot of the times you would never even see the Power Glove in a store. I don't think that they produced it as much as they should have or tried to advertise it, because back then it would have been really cool.
Right.
I think a lot of people would have played with them if they had the opportunity.
How do you think it would go today if Nintendo tried to revive the Power Glove in some way?
I think that you probably shouldn't give them any ideas because Nintendo doesn't care about its controllers. They've always had some kind of weird controller thing going on. I could see them releasing the Power Gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could get the Switch VR head thing and play with your Power Gloves.
Something about that sounds dirty.
I was thinking the exact same thing. They have a game on the Nintendo Switch. What's it called? Penny?
Oh, Panty Party, yeah.
Panty Party.
Yeah, Panty Party.
Imagine that with a VR headset and gloves.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Sounds like a dream come true.
We dream differently, apparently. The last thing that I talk about is my ColecoVision. This is the first game system that we had in my household while I was a child. And this is the unit that we had, so we kept this throughout the years. So it's nice to have the original system that I grew up playing. In it right now I've got the Smurf game, because back when I was playing it, it was about the only game that I could really play on it. All you gotta do is jump. So I was able to play that game. Me and my brother played it a lot. Beat the game a few times. There's a special ending where Smurfette shows her panties.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah. I've never seen the ending. Well, I've seen it on YouTube, but I've never played it to that particular ending. But I've got the original Coleco that we had as a kid. The Super controllers. Also, the ColecoVision. It's one of the expansion ports with the roller controller, which is cool because there's a lot of arcade shooters like Galaga and stuff on there. So it's just like when you were in the arcade with the roller balls playing those. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people see like Sega had all these add-ons and they're like they went too far and ruined them.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of companies have been doing that for many years. And Coleco had an expansion port. There were 3 different modules that you could put on it. One played the Atari games for the 2600. One of them was the roller controller. And then they also released a steering wheel with a pedal.
Really?
For their racing games. I've still got to get one because I've got a couple of games that I can't play. Like Omega Race. It just won't do anything without the steering wheel controller module hooked up. And I think they also released what was called the Super Gaming module that upped the power of the ColecoVision. And you can still buy the Super Gaming modules. There's CollectorVision is actually making those modules still that you can get and put on there.
Nice.
I think that they've got one where you can load ROMs onto it and play. So that's pretty neat. It's good to see that they still have interest in the older systems. So this one,
It's in good condition too.
it's in good condition. We've took care of it. I've had to pull it apart, resolder pretty much everything, but now it works perfect. And
a lot of the games you have, those are games that that you've pretty much had since you were younger too, right?
The majority of them is probably 75% of those were the games that we had when I was a kid. I've picked up just a handful over the years. You know, I haven't really been collecting but a few years now. So, well, I guess only 2 years that I've been actually collecting. So I haven't picked up a lot of ColecoVision game in those 2 years.
Hard to find.
They are hard to find. If I see them and I don't have them, I buy them. If I see it and I'm not sure if I have it, I go ahead and buy it. So I've got a couple of doubles in there just for me picking up games that I thought I might not have. No big deal though. I'll either trade them for something later or just keep them to keep.
Absolutely. Now I've got a question for you. Is this ColecoVision and some of the games, is this the only thing that is in your collection currently that you had in your childhood?
As far as my actual childhood, yeah.
Yeah. See, you're lucky, man, because I don't have anything that I had whenever I was a kid or even a teenager, and it sucks. It sucks.
Well, if I think about the things that I did have
That you got rid of.
when I was a kid that I did get rid of, there are very few of the high dollar games for the Nintendo or Super Nintendo that I didn't have at one point.
Right.
But you would play them, sell them, and buy the new thing. Back then, you didn't think about it. Which makes me question some of the rarity of these items, because back then everybody had them.
Right.
So they're there, they're just people are hoarding. They need to release the games.
Let them be free.
Yes, people are enjoying them. So a lot of the things that were my favorite things in my collection, they're not my favorite things because they're super rare, they're super valuable. For me, game collecting as a whole, I do it because it's something that I enjoy. I love the games, I play them with my kids now. So it's not a monetary thing where I'm trying to resell the games and make profit or anything like that. I just enjoy games in general, the culture, the people. A lot of the people are really cool people. So everything that I have is pretty much just because it's something that I enjoy.
Right.
Instead of anything else being attached to it.
Very cool, man. Anything else you want to say about the ColecoVision?
That's probably it.
Nathan, that was pretty cool, man. I like the 5 things that you chose, and a few of them were actually pretty surprising. You know, I wasn't expecting like Super Black Bass. I wasn't expecting the Super Nintendo, but it makes sense because the Super Nintendo is a great console. But yeah, man, thank you for sharing the top 5 favorite things in your game room. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure and hit that like button. Let us know in the comments down below, what are some of the favorite things in your game room or your game collection, or what you think about some of the things that Nathan chose in his collection. Like, for example, the ColecoVision. If you have any memories of the ColecoVision, or if you had one when you were a kid, I'm sure Nathan would love to hear about that. And as always, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so that you can join the Retro Wolf family. Stay safe out there, folks. Keep playing games and having a good time, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later.